Do you have the ability to hold dichotomy? Now, what I mean by dichotomy is the ability to hold two seemingly opposing perspectives at the same time. Now, I understand this can require you to step back into a more broadened perspective, looking down to be able to see that two truths can exist at the same time. But it is my promise to you that if you can hold these truths in your own personal awareness and see them for what they are, and that they can both exist simultaneously, that you will gain so much more self-awareness. Now, this is one of the biggest issues I see within the spiritual communities. People have a really hard time being able to hold different perspectives, right? And so this is why I like to say that the spiritual ego is actually worse than just regular old ego, because people think they are enlightened. They think they are super aware when they're actually just so much more in ego, thinking they're not, which is worse, right? So if we want to create more peace within the community of people that are trying to awaken on this path of enlightenment, we need to be able to hold multiple perspectives at once. Now, this doesn't mean that we don't have an opinion within our own world, right? It doesn't mean we don't believe in right or wrong for ourselves, but we're able to see multiple perspectives. We're able to hold dichotomy. Now, this is also the reason that a lot of spiritual teachers seem to contradict each other. You know, we've all listened to different teachers at different times in our lives and said to ourselves, wow, this one sounds way different than this one. All right, well, I agree more with this one. I think this one's wrong. And for some reason, we just decide to kick certain teachers and leaders to the curb because they don't agree with us anymore where we're at in our journey, and that's fine. If they no longer resonate with you, push them to the side. But if you're able to see that, oh, I see, that exists as well. It just exists on a different frequency, on a different vibration. That's okay. You will have way more awareness. And you will also be more loving towards your own self and towards the people in your life and people in general. And that will create more self-love within yourself and therefore the world. I swear I'm gonna hit this every time. Maybe I need to move over a little bit. So, can you hold dichotomy? Can you make room for multiple perspectives? Can you see that one person can be both good and bad at the same time? Can you accept that there are bad and good parts in yourself, right? From this more broad, non-physical perspective, you can say that Source does not see good or bad. It does not see black and white. It does not see right or wrong. It just sees, because it is just awareness. It is because you are in this physical form that you are in, that you are able to even perceive those things. Contrast. You wouldn't know light without dark. You wouldn't know wrong without right. You wouldn't know good from bad. That is why this experience of being a physical human is so wonderful. Now, that doesn't excuse the painfulness and that we can feel and all the misery and suffering that goes on in human life. But that contrast gives rise to excellence in human beings and the bright side to our existence. One thing I will say though is we do not have to experience as much suffering as we do as humans to expand, to have expansion in the universe. Yes, more suffering will equate to more expansion, but it just means a lot more suffering for this perspective. And it just does not need to be that way. And the only way to kind of pull back from that suffering is to begin to start seeing multiple perspectives, begin to be able to hold dichotomy. So, can you do that? Can you listen to something that you don't necessarily agree with right now in your point, where you're at in your journey, and still see that that can be truth for somebody? That can really resonate with someone. Can you see that there are going to be teachers that simply talk about the non-dual perspective of this all just being light, of this all just being energy playing with itself and dancing with itself, and also the up close and personal perspective, unique perspective we each have the opportunity to participate in within our own life at the same time. You know, we come across so many teachers here on YouTube where people are usually one extreme or the other. And, you know, I like to see myself as a bridge between both. And more people are beginning to be that bridge themselves, because they just start to see that, oh, we are everything. We are both the macro and the micro. We are everything. We're the entire experience. Oneness did set this up so that you could experience something that felt so real, to create polarity and to create contrast, so that we could expand. So all I'm pointing to here is, do you have the ability to hold dichotomy? Can you accept that your truth may completely differ from somebody else's, but still be totally valid? How many arguments would be saved if we started to hold dichotomy better? Literally all war is caused by the inability to see another's perspective. That is what love is. It's being able to see the difference between me and you, but the sameness. And that even though we're not at the same point in our journeys as each other, we're still on the journey. We're on the same journey. So I encourage you to really look at where you are not able to see another in their journey, and where they are valid in their opinions and their perspectives, and be able to hopefully cultivate some compassion for them, and also for yourself, because there are parts to our own selves where we push against who we are, because we have aspects to ourselves, right? We're not just one thing. There's aspects to our being with multiple different perspectives. So if we're able to hold dichotomy in ourselves, what can we do for others? A lot. If you want to cause change in this world, you must have compassion and self-love for yourself, and that will naturally shine forth unto others. Forgiveness will naturally come. I cannot tell you how much better I've been able to forgive certain people in my life organically. And it's not like something I went up to them and said, hey, I forgive you for this, this, and that. Like, it was nothing like that. It was just something that happened within my own self. I didn't need to tell them, right? It had nothing really to do with them. It had everything to do with me. But it came organically because I was able to hold dichotomy. I was able to see where they were at in their journey. And that any perspective is really the result of unconsciousness or consciousness. It just depends on where you are at. We got to be able to stop trying to logic everything out, though. We got to be able to start seeing the rightness more so than the wrongness in everyone's perspectives. I like to say that everybody is truly doing the best that they can do with the level of consciousness that they are at, because that is the truth. Do you feel like you're doing the best you can do right now? I know I do. And of course, we all know that there's areas where we could be trying better or trying harder. But also, we're doing the best we can do, right? As people, because we're still having a human experience. You are also infinite at the same time. So, my hope for you is that you are able to start to hold dichotomy, if you haven't already, within your own self and within all of the aspects of your being. And therefore, with the people in your life that you love and care about. And to spread that love and compassion and understanding with the world just by being yourself. It's hard for a lot of people to do this because they're afraid to be vulnerable. We're so used to identifying, right? Because we've been conditioned and educated that way to identify ourselves. But when you're able to hold and see multiple perspectives, you're open. You are open. You have more of an open heart chakra or center. And that requires a little bit more bravery than simply being in the egoic mind all the time, trying to know and get things. And also, this is coming from somebody who absolutely loves science. I love bridging the science with the mystical. I love understanding how we can prove certain elements of the unknown in the known. And that's why I'm able to balance the two so well in my own life. So, hold perspectives. Let people be where they're at in their journey, because you are doing the best you can do, and they are doing the best they can do. And this is how we can make the world a little bit of a better place. This is how we can end some of our own personal suffering and judgment towards our own internal aspects, and therefore other people's, and bring forth compassion to them as well. Thank you.